Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge & Company. Mort Berkowitz advertises political campaigns on lapels. He also produces events, but this week from Philadelphia to Charlotte, North Carolina, his buttons are sprouting like new flowers. He's my #1 campaign button man, and he does it all from a small office in Times Square, and I'm glad you came.
I'm glad to be here.
So, in the actual political races, I mean, do people want buttons to collect them or to really wear them for the candidates?
Most people want them to wear them for the candidate, and right after the race is over, half of them get rid of them.
Mistake.
Another,
right.
Well, of course it's a mistake. And the other half keep them. Some seriously is collected, and others it just goes in a drawer.
So, and you supply a lot of buttons to campaigns.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. How many do you think you do a year? You don't know.
Well, I think in this race, we will have done, by the time the inaugural is over, we will have 1,500 different designs, 1,500 different designs.
That is amazing. Do you find, since the new campaign finance laws are in, that business is different from the way it was when we were growing up or when I was growing up?
Sure. And the main difference is in 1976, that was the last year that national campaigns actually made buttons and they gave them at the headquarters. After that, all their money went for advertising. It went for television. It went for newspapers. So different headquarters and different civic groups and people like yourself would buy buttons, sell them, use the profits either to pay for their headquarters or to pay for trips to Pennsylvania or Ohio,
to buy more buttons.
Or to buy more buttons, right.
Right. Because I remember growing up, I mean, we always wore a button. It was so great to, see another button with your candidate walking down the street. You become an instant friend.
Instant friend.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's such a warm feeling. So do you design the buttons? You don't design all the buttons yourself?
I design most of them myself.
Yeah.
I have an idea, and my wife will tell you that I'm horrible to be with because...
I can't believe that.
You talk to her. And at 3 in the morning, the light goes on by my bed, and I'm writing something down. I have a new idea. I have this. And friends call me all the time. Hey, I got a great idea for you. This will make $1 million. It won't, but they're fun. They're fun.
Do you sell collector's buttons, collector's items, old buttons, or do you sell just what you make?
We sell everything. I sell buttons and I buy buttons from friends.
You do? Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Right. And you do them on the internet?
We do them on the internet.
You do them by connections?
By connections.
And you go out and actually sell them yourself sometimes?
We sell them at Democratic and Republican conventions. Now, one other aspect of the business is that at the Democratic convention this year in Denver, we will donate the official delegation buttons to a number of Democratic states. So I've represented, for argument's sake, many of the states, and they will allow us to sell buttons at their morning caucus and afternoon parties and nighttime events. So therefore, you give something away which is valuable to them, so they don't have to pay for it. Right. And at the same time, it's terrific for us because we have great exposure to these people, and hopefully not only will they buy a button there, but they become a customer later on.
So you're left then with a lot of dollar bills.
A lot of dollar bills and tens of thousands of buttons for people who drop out after a week, who are defeated, but we have made buttons. So now we're down to the big 3 now, right?
Right.
But there were 25 other people before that.
Right.
So we have a good 50,000 buttons in storage for all of those other folks.
Well, now what do you do with them?
We hopefully will sell them as collectibles. We will donate them.
You'll do anything. Do we have any of those here? Because we've had a big array.
No,
we just kept...
The only one that I did here was John Anderson, which I thought was a cute button.
Yeah.
Every 4 years you see someone saying, the other guy is the joke for Halloween and meat for Thanksgiving. So that was an Anderson button. Carter and Reagan for Halloween, Anderson for Thanksgiving.
Give Thanksgiving for Anderson.
Right, absolutely.
That's great. I remember once, many years ago, we did Goldwater for Halloween. That was a big one.
Yep.
We thought we were so clever.
It was clever.
Yeah.
It was clever. It was clever before that. It was clever
afterwards.
Yeah.
So, when I asked you about dollar bills, you once told me a story that you went to check out of the hotel.
Dallas, the convention in Dallas, Texas, the Republican convention, I think it was 1988 or 84, whatever it was. And we went to check out. And there was a bill for, I think, $1,400. And I gave him 1,400 ones. And he said, I mean, seriously. And he said to me, we don't want ones. I said, okay. How about quarters?
And they took
he
the
took
ones.
the ones, yes, yes.
So you get a lot of that kind of trade.
Oh, sure.
That's a big problem, though, isn't it? When you're out someplace in the country and you got all these dollar bills or $20 bills.
And everybody knows you have it.
Knows that you have it, so
right.
you got to be careful.
Yes, that's why it's called going to the bank.
Oh, I see. Quickly.
Quickly.
How did you start all this?
I started it in 1956. My interest in politics. I was a kid growing up. I was a high school kid in Brooklyn, and I was a volunteer for the Liberal Party, which meant giving out stuff at street corners.
How come you picked the Liberal Party?
Because the Democratic Club was too difficult. When I walked in there, it was just
suspicious.
Who needs you, kid?
Yeah.
So
I started with the Liberal
Party
when I was 14 or 15. Because they gave me a watcher certificate. They made me feel like I was very important, and I went up to the polls. It was great.
Absolutely.
Right.
So what happened was I'm sitting in class at Erasmus Hall, and in those days, there were big rallies in Brooklyn, always at the intersection of Church and Flatbush. Adlai Stevenson was coming, and the Liberal Party, someone called me. They needed some kids up there. I was a kid. I was a liberal kid. I got to sit up there. And they gave me buttons. And they also gave me a copy of his book, which I still have, that he autographed, What I Think by Adlai Stevenson, which was a compilation of speeches.
Were your parents active in politics or interested?
My father was a union organizer for, my dad, that's how my values came to be. My mother organized tenants in Brooklyn with a young kid who was just starting out, Marty Markowitz.
Marty Markowitz.
Yes. And Mom continued to work for Marty until her death at 96.
Oh.
She raised money for Marty's summer concerts in Brooklyn.
Did you run some of those or do help her?
No.
So the politics thing was always there, and you realized this. So tell me.
if I can.
Yeah, please.
And then during Watergate, for some reason, I started to come up with all these slogans. That's when the business.
What was Watergate?
That was 72.
72.
Nixon knew and Agnew bailed to the chief. Richard the Lying-Hearted. Nixon is a staph infection. Behind every Watergate stands a Millhouse. On and on. And then it started.
So how do you do this? You don't make the buttons yourself.
Oh, no. I go to a union company in Manhattan. And now there are union companies that I use all over the country. They make it.
And they have big machinery.
Yes, it's not a bump, right. I tried that for about an hour and no.
No, all right. So you order them and then they get distributed. Either they're ordered or you're just going to keep them and sell them someplace.
Yeah, right.
That's fair. So then you've continued to do things on these buttons to design them. What do you find about buttons? Are they different? Do they fall into different categories?
They do. One of the great categories is that a candidate will align themselves with their celebrity supporters. So if you look at the Hillary button with Barbra Streisand and Tony Bennett.
Ah, look at that. Singing her praises.
Of course. And then Barbra Streisand has always been for Democratic candidates, starting in 1972 for George McGovern. She did something with James Taylor.
She was big with Bella. I remember that.
She was very big with Bella.
Right.
Yes.
Abzug for everybody.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Congresswoman Abzug with her famous hats.
Yeah.
And then this year for Obama, we did about oceans of support for Obama with 3 of the great stars of Oceans 11, 12,
Brad
13,
Pitt.
14. Yes. George Clooney.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon.
And that you had another one with stars, but
Well, I have another one with that we did a takeoff on the Three Amigos with John McCain, with Rudy Giuliani and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So there's McCain in the middle and the two of
Right.
them.
The interesting thing is on that button that we made John McCain the taller of the three. Yes, because he should stand. Yes,
right.
he should stand out more.
And he's in the middle, so it's very
Yes.
important. Actually, Schwarzenegger looks taller. I hate to tell you. All right.
He's not.
Okay. And then what do you do?
Then we did one when Fred Thompson came, started, and Fred Thompson won the race until he entered it.
Right.
Okay, but we did one because he's best known for being the fighting district attorney. So we did elect the DA president.
Oh, that's very good. Law and order.
Yeah.
So now what are you going to do with these? Are they going to be a collector's?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you
they're
send some to
collectibles.
him?
No.
Oh, all
If you
right.
give me his address, I'll be happy to, though.
I don't know.
Okay. Now, people also link on buttons with former popular presidents. That's certainly, everyone has done that. Everyone has tried to, every Republican ties himself in the Reagan tradition.
Right.
Win one more for the Gipper. Okay. We have three. We did a George to George at the occasion of the 200th anniversary, of the founding of America. So you have George Washington and George Bush. You have...
Which Bush was that? George W.? I don't even know what the name
That was George Sr.
Senior.
Yes.
So you could do
George
one
the
now
Elder.
that's George to George with senior to junior, except it
You
wouldn't
could, but who cares?
Wouldn't have the same
Right,
weight,
yeah,
right? Okay.
Now, the interesting thing 4 years ago, of course, with JFK, that could either stand for John Forbes Kerry or John Fitzgerald Kennedy. So we did America Needs Another JFK.
Oh, and then you've got the two
Yes.
pictures.
And then this year, with the Kennedy family, especially Carolyn and Teddy, throwing their support behind Obama, and Carolyn saying that he really represents what her father stood for, then it was reasonable to do a new generation with Obama and JFK on it.
Very good.
Oh, they're interesting.
Yeah,
They're interesting.
it is. It's fun.
Yeah, they are fun. And then...
Now, all of these then are on a website, and people order
Yes.
them from the website?
Yes.
These are not ordered by campaigns or states particularly, this kind?
Correct, except that Democratic and Republican headquarters, storefronts, etc., call and buy buttons and sell them. Because you would find in New York especially that many of the Democratic and Republican campaigns, their storefronts are and their operations are paid for by the sales of buttons. Yeah.
It's amazing at how many people buy buttons. It's really amazing. It's not amazing to you, but it's amazing to somebody who doesn't know it too well.
For the average person, it's a way of contributing for the campaign.
Right.
And so if you charge, one store will charge $1, another one will do $3, it doesn't matter. Because it's whatever the person wants to give.
Right.
I mean, you're not selling them. You ask for a contribution. Right. And
So
people
that's
are
very
happy to
good.
do it.
What's-
Then the thing that I always like, and it's been going on for years, Bill Clinton had it, Jimmy Carter had it, the comeback kid. The comeback, everybody.
Did Jimmy Carter have it?
Jimmy Carter
Yeah,
was
where did
not.
that, do you know where that it started?
I don't know
that
where it
expression?
started.
No, neither
I
do
don't
I.
know where it
Yeah.
started. But the comeback kid became a big thing. Lose one state, win the next, and you're back. You're back. The difficulty this year is that by the time you have done the button, another primary or caucus has been held and that person lost. So
You have to hold it for the next
right,
phase.
right, that's right. Every day or two it's a new button.
So who is this year's comeback kids?
Well, both McCain
Definitely McCain.
and
right?
Hillary
Right.
both lost in Iowa.
right.
They came back to win the next one. Then Hillary went on to lose several. And then theoretically after Super Tuesday, she could be the comeback kid. She loses another batch. She wins a batch. She loses a batch. So, you could theoretically continue to do them. McCain was a comeback because he was certainly
at the bottom.
down and out.
Right.
until everybody else got into the race, then they were all down and out.
Incredible. So then what do we have? We have
one that's interesting, is that the same campaign will put out almost a match set of buttons. Now, McGovern did that. The McGovern people did that. I thought it was terrific. And it's the button with the smiley face, McGovern Shriver, and the negative face.
Yes. Oh, yes, I love this.
Richard Nixon.
Right. So it's a match. It's a pair.
Yeah, it's a pair.
So you got
you would want to wear
McGovern
one on each
Shriver
lapel.
with a smile.
Right.
And Nixon with the frown.
That's right.
That's adorable. And do you sell them separately or together?
Oh, together. It's much more fun that way.
All right.
You sell it as a match set. Now, Al Gore.
Does that become more valuable if you're collecting?
Yeah, yeah. Sets. People want sets. And I'll tell you a funny story. To me, it was funny. When my son was born, Michael, we did a button a year for Michael and my daughter Stacy for each birthday up to the time they were 13. And I got a call from a friend of mine who was a commissioner in one of the in the Koch administration, who called me up and said, "Something happened to Michael 7. I don't know where it is, but I need a replacement." So then they figure if Michael actually goes somewhere in politics, then that button is really collectible, yes.
So they had one from 13, 1 through 13.
Yes, exactly. Except in number 7.
Every year.
Yeah.
So is it like poker? I mean, if you save all the comeback kids and you sell them in a bunch?
You don't know until you try. Call eBay, put them on, and you never know.
That's great.
The other thing that's interesting, to make candidates more humane, more human, is to tie them in with their animals. And that's been done.
Always popular.
Yes, it is. So you have, do you remember Socks, who was the official cat for Bill Clinton? So you had inaugural Socks. You had the leader for first dog, that was Bob Dole's. But you remember when it worked against the candidate once because he pinched his ear, and that was LBJ. Yes. He pinched the ear and all these animal rights people.
And he picked him up.
He picked them up, yeah. Or against, how could you do that?
Right. And Roosevelt had Fallon. I remember they had Scotties, didn't they?
Yes, yes. And it was terrific. Right. So pets have always been a part.
And what about Nixon's pet? Didn't he have or was that just the mink coat that his wife?
You mean you don't mean a mink coat?
What?
You mean a Republican cloth coat that Pat had? She would never be caught in a mink coat.
No, but what was it that he said he's never going to give back?
The dog that someone...
That's what I thought.
Checkers.
Checkers.
Checkers, remember?
Is there a Checkers button? I wonder.
No.
All right.
But there was Checkers was that famous speech. No matter what they say, I will never give back. Yes. That was, and people believed them.
Yeah.
So.
That's all right.
But you never saw him walking Checkers.
No.
However, no.
No, he didn't play. He wasn't the kind of person who would really play around with a dog.
Yeah. Buttons also there are historical posters and events that we put down on a poster, on a button. And one of them was when Golda Meir was Prime Minister of Israel. There was a very famous poster that I saw in my friend Sandy Silverman's office one day. She went to an employment agency, allegedly. And
Golda Meir,
Golda Meir, never Sandy. And I apologize, Sandy. And the employment interviewer said, "But can you type?"
Right.
So that was done this year, "But can you type Mrs. Clinton?" Okay, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Then you want to tie in a candidate with something so odd that nobody in the world would ever think about it. And that was, you take a famous painting. Paintings obviously they wouldn't know from candidates, right?
Right.
But someone was clever enough to put a Reagan pennant next to the Mona Lisa. And it just stood out so well.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's a collector's item.
Yeah, it is, yes.
It's a beautiful button, too. And it looks brand new, so it is. I mean, people don't really wear them. They buy them and keep them, right?
Yes, that went directly to my collection.
Isn't that something? It's beautiful, too.
Yes,
right.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
And then as we said before, not only with Kennedy to tie in, people tied in on local races. So when John Lindsay ran, the idea was it's the second hardest job in America, being mayor of New York City. And he tied himself in officially with LaGuardia. So the button, the best news since LaGuardia, Lindsay for mayor. A nice young picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It seems like yesterday.
It does, and it was a great, unfortunately, Barry Goddard just passed, one of his aides.
Yeah. And then we have this historic kind of button, right?
Yes. Everybody has used the famous war posters from the First World War and the Second World War. And the one that I really loved was that beautiful woman, that Lady Liberty holding up the American flag. And it said, instead of fight for America, this one says, fight for Al Gore, President 2000. And so imagine a week after the button came out, I saw it in someone's auction, and it went for $75. And I said, whoa.
Did you make it?
Yes.
Boy.
Whoa.
So how many did you have?
I had a number. I still sell it for $3. But it.
Isn't that something?
Auctions are,
it's
auctions
very
are really.
Too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The most popular
Do they
one,
have
though.
this We Want You?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
We want you to vote for.
Right.
And Republicans tend to use that more than Democrats.
Yeah.
It's a more authoritative figure. Do you?
Yep.
Okay. The one that Democrats use in every race is Rosie the Riveter. Rosie the Riveter became synonymous with issues and with politics, women's issues, also Bill Clinton. I mean, fighting for those same issues then. So we can do it, Clinton, Gore in '92. And now, after the inauguration, talking about family leave and health care and education and daycare choice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So this one is specially done for the inauguration.
Yes, that was the inaugural button.
And where do you have set up with the booths and all down in Washington?
Yes, we would take, I will give you a story that no one has ever heard, which might find interesting, is actually no one ever has heard this. I
can't wait.
Well, Ronald Reagan defeated Jimmy Carter in 1980. Inaugurations are boring for news companies. They're boring. They really are. There's very little news coming out of it. So because I am a collector and a dealer, and I know a number of people in Washington, a news crew was assigned to me by ABC. And for Good Morning America, they were going to do little vignettes throughout the inaugural. Mort meeting this person and that person and swapping buttons or political. Okay. I got a call on the Sunday just prior to the inaugural. A call comes in. The head of the news crew takes it, turns to me and says, Mort, the story is off. The hostages are being released. They're on their way to Wiesbaden, Germany. The story's off. We're leaving today.
And that was
No more story. No more story. That's the end. So what I did on that Sunday afternoon, I made up a button, 2 buttons, Welcome Home Hostages.
Oh, boy.
And I was in Washington, D.C., January 20th, 1981, the day the hostages were released.
And selling your button.
We had them on the parade route. Nobody, of course, would buy them because it wasn't true until Reagan was inaugurated and announced. And 20 minutes later, there weren't none left.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's a great story. So you're always working?
Always working.
Always working.
I'm thinking of a new button now, but I don't want to tell you.
Okay.
I don't want someone in your audience telling.
We have 1 minute. So this is
This was a button we did this year. You know, talking about the Jolly Green Giant, nobody better represents that than Al Gore, except he's not jolly. So we did green, yes, jolly, no, but Gore for president.
That's very good. He's also not that thin.
Well, not anymore.
And then finally, this is a non-political button.
Mitch Kuhn.
I don't know who.
Mitch Kuhn is a graphic designer, and he made that. And L with the slash, it was his Christmas gift to me. And it said no L.
No L. Well, thank you very much.
Bye
Thanks. Bye-bye. If there are any people you'd like to hear and topics you'd like us to explore, please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.